Good. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back again to our emotional resilience sections 2 today. And we will have a bit of revisions the first few slides, and I will go very quick with that, and then we will start on to today's topics, and is how to diffuse our emotions. Okay, and let's go back to our private and confidential to remind again that we keep whatever that we talking, whatever we discuss, we talking and keep into the rooms, and then so that we provide safe and comfortable environment. And if you have any distress after these sessions, please do call your pastors and call your counselor, and or also call me or Tina, and that will be able to help you. So, okay, don't keep your distress and carry on suffering yourself. Yeah. And we have yesterday just revisions. Yesterday we talked about God has given us the DNA and of our given us the essential human needs, and that actually help us to have the base of our emotions, of love, of security, of self-identity, ownerships, and connection with God, connection with other people, and we have this self-control, decision-making, and all that they are important for us, and then to practice emotionally how to use it in a more healthy way, and the Bible gives us the base, and so that we can have a checklist, in what way, why am I insecure? Why am I not feel loved? Why am I, have this problem in decision making? Give us a checklist and then connect back to God, and also connect back to our reality of our emotional needs as well. And looking back to our crooked thinking, A to C thinking, and also straight ABC thinking, and help us to know the missing part of the B, where we actually reluctant to touch on, and yet it happens so quick. A lot of time we just blame the events rather than look into a more rational way and see and be responsible to my emotions. What is my self-talk? What is my irrational thought, my irrational belief that lead me to that irrational behavior, like anger or fear, whatever emotion that you're encountering. So that we need to check that. Okay, and we also have of course, the ABC stand for the activated events, and the unpleasant situations that you are encountering. And then the B is a belief, is a self-talk, is an irrational self-talk. It's actually irrational self-belief that actually lead into a C, irrational behavior. If we have a rational belief and self-talk, we will have a rational behavior. Okay, and that is understands about our emotions, ABC, and then we also talk about our amygdala. It's very important thing that God has created this to us, and for us to understand it, how it functions, and it actually it functions as an alarm system, as a memory, recording, and programming, and whatever that we actually the event that we encountering, whatever that our interpretations that look into that event, he will record it down, and when the similar things happen, it will just go back to that memory. We see that we're responding in the same way each time when the similar things happen, and that is what it is, the amygdala, and it is responsible to our perceptions of emotions, and with anger, fear, sadness, as well as our controlling, as the controlling of our aggression as well. Now, yesterday we talked about the irrational belief that we have, from the childhood all the way, as adults now, that there is so much of must or have to, that we keep repeating it and forcing ourselves to do something, to achieve something. And because of that force that we create inside us, and then naturally we actually resisting it. So we have said that, and then we also have said that Schutz did the same thing as well. He actually formed a very rigid ways of controlling people, so rigid that people have to, you want people to follow exactly what you think, what you do, and stuff like that. And worst of all, that we make it the emotional states more worse with these 5 hotlinks, where we criticize, we condemn, we keep telling ourselves, I can't stand it. Imagine if I must do something and I can't stand it. You add it into it, your emotion just flare even more. And that's your frustrations. Your tolerance of frustration is so low. And that a little bit touch on you, you bang, you get very strong reactions, feelings. And we overanalyze things, and then we see ourselves worthless, and then we often say always or never. It actually trigger people, very frustration and annoying as well when you say that, because people not always do the same mistake. They sometimes did a mistake. So make it, this kind of 5 hot link actually make our emotions even worse. Now, as we link into that, of course, we see how we increase our anxiety, we increase our fear, increase our depressions, and today this is our topic. Today we are talking about our ABC extension of D and E. What is D and what is E? The D is about dispute our irrational beliefs, and the E, of course, is the effect of the dispute, new emotions and behavior. So for the dispute, which means we would like to replace the irrational to a more rational way of thinking. How do we dispute it? How do we change the sentence, change the interpretation? How do we replace it? Now, today we're going to learn. Now, a lot of things, we go back to the must and the should that we do. Do you realize that now that we are all Christian, right? And most of us are Christians, and then we also see the Bible, appear to us like, you must do this, you should do that, And it seems to us like it's so rigid, right? It's so controlling. But actually, we actually walk into the wrong way. Because, you see, God is our God. He's our creator. It's just like a leader, right? If you have a coach to guide you, right? If you have a coach to guide you, let's say, you're very good in running, and it's appointed you as a representation to run for the school. Like, what would the coach expect you to do? He will expect you to the expectation is really high, so that you will aim to reach it. The same thing, God, when Bible give us a must and a should, that is because He is our real coach in life, right? He is a great counselor and a great teacher for us. Therefore, He gave us all the should and must, but how do we respond to should and must? Are we responding the same way to should and must? And then if we responded to the same way, Bible says that I must. When you say that, it becomes so forceful, so that you actually force yourself to do it. And is that the way that God wants us to do it? And example, devotion. Example, the 10 Commandments. Example, God said, feed the lamb. Example, God said, care for those who are in need, or poor, the widow, and love one another, bear each other burden, go and teach. Imagine you put all this as a must and the should. It's just crazy. You just feel like, that is not me. How can I do all that, right? And then you because the minute we force ourselves, you will respond with a resistance. And when we resist in doing all this, what meaning will that come in? That actually we feel like ourselves is a hypocrite. Because we are actually resisting it, the things that we are not convinced into it. But how do God actually want us to see? How can we dispute this must and the shoulds? God actually, when we come to us, see, God is a very consistent God. When we gave us the base, remember, He gave us the base? He gave us the base of, decision making choice. He desired you to obey. But then, He also allowed you to see when you disobey the consequences. Now, when we have that, God is consistent. He will not put the should and the must in the Bible to force us to do it. But rather, how do we respond? We can respond it like, I want to do it. I prefer, I have my preference. God give me a choice. I preference, what would I preference to do? Do I preference to care? Or do I preference to, to help this person? Or do I preference to, to keep the Sabbath, what will I do? What is my preference? What is my desire? So when this comes into this way, when it is not fulfilled, if it's unfulfilled of this, it cannot make us miserable. It don't make us miserable. But rather, if we are in the ritual and must and should, we feel guilty. We actually feel miserable about it. And then we actually put into so much so that because we're resisting, we know that we shouldn't resist because it is God that wants us to do. Therefore, that resistance actually makes us feel guilty, makes us feel very uncomfortable, makes us not happy being a Christian, doing the Christian things. Does you see that? Now, I hope by now you see how we actually, as a Christian, use a must and should. Now, God actually desires us, to have a rational mindset rather than an irrational one. Because, did you see the difference? If it's a rational mindset, look at it. It is actually a growth mindset. How do we face failure? One can say failure is an opportunity to grow. And we like to, when we have that failure, we like to see it as an opportunity, which means I have space to grow. But then, it can be a fixed mindset as well. If I have a fixed mindset, failure is a limit of my ability. The minute we see, I failed, that means that's it. I failed, I cannot move forward. And it's not belong to me. I don't have that ability. If I limited that, and I will not be able to grow because we don't have a drive to try it again. Now, or perhaps I say, I'm either good at it or I'm not. The minute I set that and fix that, we have no desire want to learn new things, want to experience new teaching, or want to experience a new skills because I say, I'm not good at it. I don't want to do it. Oh, if I have a growth mindset, I can say, I can learn. I have a space to grow. I'm willing to learn. Challenge help me to grow. And the other one may have said, I don't like challenge. It's just too much, too overwhelming. So what is your mindset? Fix a point. Do you want to make it so rigid? And as you set it so rigid, just imagine how you're encountering at work, how you're encountering at schoolwork or at working place, how you're encountering at church. When we have that fixed mindset, we seem to have easily give up. Or we seem to get more frustrated. We don't enjoy our Christian life. But then when we have a growth mindset, it's all different. It's a new, different experience. We will always, have that kind of, the enthusiasms and then wanting to learn new things. And so, this is what God desires us to be. But then, what do I feed myself to? What do I feed myself? Do I prefer to do so? Or do I see myself, I must do so? Let's look at it. Look, God looking at it in a beautiful way. God looking at it as love. Now, God is love. What is love? God has spelled it out very beautifully in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. Love is patient, love is kind, love is, it's not envy, it's not bold, it's not proud, it's not rude, it's not self-seeking, it's not easily angry, and keep no record of wrongs, does not delight in evil, rejoice with the truth, always protects, and loves, always trusts, hopes, persevere, and never fail. And when we put that into our life, we believe in God. And God actually take this in within us, have put that when we believe in God, God actually put that in us. But the thing is, we are not 100% of all that because we are weak humans. Perhaps we can actually assess ourselves. God has given me patience to 0 to 10. Where am I at? If I say that, I see myself quite patient, in 7 before I have my car. But the minute I have my car, I bought my car, then I realize my patience is down to 3. Because when I keep encountering with cars, picking up people, and waiting at the traffic, and try to beat the time with the traffic, then I realize myself, I am so impatient. And I'm alone in the car. Sometimes I can be so angry with the car in front of me that he did not even hear me, and yet I'm angry inside, alone in the car. It's not necessary. So, but then, again, God gives us a checklist of love, a kindness. Sometimes I say, oh, I must be very kind because I'm a Christian. So someone asks me something, I must do it. I should do it. But then, come to it. Where is your level of kindness? We have to be very, very, very honest to ourselves. Where's your level? 0 to 10. If I feel that my kindness is on 3, but the demand of 8, then I say I cannot meet that. I cannot give that. But I can give up to 3. And then, as I check myself in 3, what will I desire next to be? I actually can tell myself, oh, I would like to improve in this area. I would like to go to level 4 of my kindness. What would it be like if it's level 4 of my kindness? What different would I do from now? That gives us a checklist where we are at. Rather than we should do with kindness, then we shoot up so high up with the expectation, but yet we cannot do it. And yet we feel sorry, we feel bad when we can't do it. It's not necessary. So look into it in a more reality way. 0 to 10, give yourself, where are you at in each one of the love that God has given us. Now, I love for you to look into God and Cain counseling sections. Now, in these sessions, God given us an example how to have that counseling with God, with myself as well. We all know about the story of Cain and Abel. And then in Genesis chapter 4, verse 2 to 8, and that is what she said. I said, and she is Eve, again bear his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruits of the ground an offering unto the Lord. Hold on to that. What is actually God's desire? What is the instructions? But we all know that, when we offer sacrifice in the Old Testament, it is the animals. But he offer what? He offer what he get from the ground. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flocks and of the fats of thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art you wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou dost well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not do well, sin lie at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked to Abel, his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Look into the counseling. Look into how God have questioned Cain. God said, why are you angry? And why are you feel so sad and look so down? He said, if you do well, will not I accept you? Now, God did not totally reject Cain. God actually acknowledged his sadness, acknowledged his anger. And God actually questioned him. What is the things that you've done will not be accepted if you do it right way. And sometimes we need to be very honest to ourselves. Do we do things in the right way? So this became a question back to us as well. When we do with our emotion, we get upset, we get angry, we get anxious. Go back and check what God trying to counsel me here? Repeat his question to yourself. And then look at what Cain actually perceived. You see, what is his irrational belief? His irrational belief is he took the ground, he take the goods, and then he offered to God. God should receive it. God should accept it. But when God don't, he get very upset. So it is our irrational mind lead into a behavior. And that behavior, we get angry. And when we not accept it, God did not say forever. God did not say, I will never receive from you anymore. No. God actually wants him to question him, to ask him to reflect. So reflection is important. We need to reflect back our attitude. God will forgive us if we come up to the front, all right? And then make it right with God again, and then our emotion, our behavior will be right again. Now, look at that of our, I love this art because it spells out so clearly, what's going on in our mind. Let's look at the fixed mindset first. Interestingly, this fixed mindset, he said, I ignore constructive criticism. Now, I wonder why. I wonder what is that constructive criticism, do to her. How do he feel about it? Why does he want to ignore it? I have a negative internal dialogue. I'm an idiot. I wonder what this voice come from. Is I am an idiot? Is it come from the parents? That he grown up, he been scolding him, that became his self-identity, that she's an idiot. So sometimes we became a checklist, this one, and spell out loud, what is my irrational belief? I don't like to ask questions in case I sound stupid. But then, isn't it that it's a saying, no question is stupid, right? So sometimes our irrational mindset belief actually stop us to ask questions. And then I like to say, I can't do it. Now it became a habit, say, oh no, I can't. If I keep saying that, what does that fit into myself? Can I have an area to grow, to improve? So that's how is irrational belief actually have reduced our capability to practice my ability. I give up quickly. I avoid challenge. I feel threatened by other people's success. I don't want to look like a failure. All that's the language that he comes in. A lot of time go back to the childhood, go back to the primary time, what the teacher, what the friends, what the peers say about you. And that you have adopt this as you. Then if I will be a responsible person and an adult and responsible to myself, do I really want to carry on this irrational thought? How far can I go with this thought? Have you ever questioned yourself what you actually desire yourself to grow to become? What kind of person that you want to be? Do you want to have all these thoughts to stop you to grow and stop you to achieve? Or you want to reflect, just like God say, hey, reflect what you have done, what you're thinking, for you know what? If you continue to think that way, he say your next actions, your sins will take over you, will controlling you. And that is why God wants us to do our reflections. And then he said, I have a growth mindset. I like it the way that, I have a growth mindset. I can always improve. And he said, I can learn anything that if I want to. Yeah. And I like to challenge myself. And that is always a good growing, languages that we actually speak to ourselves. Now, I hope that will help you to understand, how to dispute it. First, you need to identify first before you can dispute. When you can do that, guess what? You don't have to do it on your own. Because with our own weakness, we kind of shift it to change our mindset, because it kind of already set kind of habit from a child until now that I'm adult. It already set the kind of a tone, automatic thinking, irrational belief and thought. But God here in Romans chapter 12 verse 2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you can discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. You see, God actually wants us, hey, do you want to renew your mind, your thinking, your mindset, your irrational? Look into your behavior. Look into your irrational thought. What does that benefit you? Renew it. God give us the Holy Spirit to guide us, to give us the power, empower us to renew our minds. And in the Bible, God gives us many stories. God gives us many stories to talk about, Bible character in irrational belief and destructive thinking. Like irrational thinking, of like all or none thinking, or generalizations, never always. Mind reading, we use mind reading or expect people can read our minds, right? And then to kind of affect our thinking of assumptions, all that come in from there, our assumptions. And manifestation or minimizations, I can't stand it. Low frustration tolerance. Sometimes we magnify the things or minimize the things. It actually will affect our emotion as well. Discounting the positive. Like, there are so many positive things that have happened in my life, but the one thing that is happening badly, it do not count anymore the positive. They only focus on the negative and say to themselves, oh, I have such a bad life. But in his life, there is a lot of positive things as well. But let's look into what the Bible story telling us. We can see in Esau, Elijah, Solomon, and Nebuchadnezzar. Let's look at it in a very short way. Okay? Genesis 25 verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red porridge, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And you know what? And this is exactly what it is. His all or none thinking, and also plus the 5 hotlinks of awfulizing. Is he really at the point of die? Just miss one meal? Just because he's hungry, he awfulizing it. It's like, I'm almost at the point to die already. What's the birthright mean to me? So when we awfulize things, right, we exaggerate our feeling that we can't go without that meal, so much so that we actually want to exchange it with the birthright. Now, what good is that? When we have this mindset, to allow the emotional control, our even decision making, a wrong decision making, unfortunately. And in 1 Kings 19:1-4, verse 14, the second part to verse 18, he say here, because the children of Israel have forsaken the covenant, thrown down thy altars and left, and there seek my life to take it away. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knee which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which have not kissed him. You see, Elijah actually feels so forsaken that she lived alone, right? And then they want to kill him, so he ran away. He felt that he was the only one. But then what the Lord say? The Lord say, I have actually 750 of the prophets that he had kept. So you see, sometimes we generalize it. because I'm alone, I generalize that I'm the only one. I'm the only one left. A lot of time we did that the same thing too. When we serve in the church, right? When it's like, I'm the only one that busy. Oh, I do everything. I'm so stressed, and no one helped me. I'm like, hey, you really have looking at a big picture. Claire is busy. Henry is busy. Just because we did not see the screen, the scenes, they are not. They're working hard, and you not see it. Doesn't mean that you yourself are the only one doing it, right? So sometimes we have that kind of mindset, distorted mindset, and then what the behavior like? Gave up, or like Elijah, I run away. I don't want to do it anymore. I run away. And we drop everything. But the thing is, the reality is, it's not the picture. It's not the right picture. So we do that even as a Christian and in the church. Now, in the 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 25 and 6, and the king said, divide the living child in two. Oh, this is Solomon's. I love this story with two women, fighting with their kids. One already died, and one other people's baby. And he gave the wisdom, he said that, and give half to the one and half to the other. He said, split into two. You can share it. Then the woman, who are the real mother of the living baby, would not want to do that, of course. What's the use of having half, right? He's not talking about faith, he's talking about life, right? He rather give the baby to other baby as long as she's living. Now, this is a kind of a mind reading, because he know, right? But don't mistaken though. You do not think that I'm talking about Solomon, this thinking is irrational. It is a gift that God given to him to be able to reason and to be able to judge and to be able to, reveal people's sins. It is in this a talent. But unfortunately, we human now, if we are not Solomons, we actually misuse it. We actually misuse the mind reading. And sometimes husband and wife will say, oh, I thought you read my mind. I thought you know it. And there's a lot of misunderstanding happening, right? And sometimes, we read other people's minds and say like, I know, you say that, you start to spell out what other people's mind, through their imagination. You must be thinking of that, right? You must say that about me, right? It's nothing about that. Maybe far beyond what it is. And sometimes we did that in our relationship. And then we have, Daniel the Nebuchadnezzar, and he is a great king. And all this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar in chapter 4, verse 28 to verse 30. At the end of the 12 months, he walked in the palace in the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, it's not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honors of my majesty. He actually, magnifies the thing like this is him. He have achieved it all, and he's the most important person, and he's so proud about himself, his achievement and stuff like that. And sometimes we magnify it, right? And our pride have increased, and then because of that, then we would develop a low frustrations of tolerance. When God say otherwise. Right? He cannot tolerate when God says otherwise. Therefore, of course, we know that Nebuchadnezzar at that time, unfortunately, he became mad for a few months. Now, we can go on and on with this, but we know that the Bible actually have actually told us a lot of irrational belief, distorted thinking, that come to the behavior and lead into the behavior. God have all that example for us. It is for us to learn. It is for us to see that where we are at. It is for us to see that we reflect from the mistake they have done, and then we learn rightly. And then I love the story of Daniel and Joseph. You see, Daniel have. If you really look into his life in Daniel 1, right, imagine it's only a young chap of 17 years old. He actually being captured. Like when you captured from Judah and then all the way go to Babylon, it's a long journey. Imagine how much he had been tortured throughout the journey. And then he'd been kept in the prison for a little while before the King Nebuchadnezzar bring him out and say that you go and learn, became a governor if you have been trained to become a governor. And then he has all the reason, all the reason to give up or to say, I can't stand it, it's too overwhelming. Oh, people are so cruel. He have all the reasons to say that. But what emotion does he have? He's so calm. He take it, even though he are facing all the negative things. But yet, what did he actually thinking at that time? You won't believe it. He actually saying, I would not defile myself. Instead of draw himself into this emotional issue, he actually saying, I want to uphold God's principle. And I want to practice it in the impossible place. And he want to believe and trust God for that he will open a way and lead him through. Would you be that? Would you be the one who be so emotional mature, taking in all the negative situation, accepting it, and then live to the present time, rather than say, I was a prince, No, he lived in the present time. And then he do his best to uplift God's principle. And where the emotional then can become so mature and wonderful. Another one is the Joseph, He also, again, he have another reason, to blame God, He put him into the jail. Can you believe it? But yet, he again put into trust into God. And he waited. He be very patient and waited for God to call him. So, what would you like to be? What would you like your emotional to be? As a Christian, how can we actually be able to reflect and then be honest ourselves, face and accept my situations, and then do a change? Not by yourself, by trusting God, by submitting to the Holy Spirit, empower you to transform you or transform your thinking. Now, rational beliefs and self-thought are logical, they are reasonable, sensible, and logic, and no need to compare. Reality-based, based on the actual evidence and observing no assumptions. Useful, helpful, practical, and useful in attaining my goals, positive expectation. Enhancing to self, other, and relationship space. We give space. What I mean is, when we enhancing, that means we give space to other people. Helpful for emotional, reducing anxiety, anger, and depression. This one is actually give us options, so that, when we, our mindset, we give ourselves an option, then we can choose what emotion do I want to fall point and what behavior and actually I want to be. Based on preference and wishes rather than on the three major masks and accelerate shoots, that will become a less demanding for ourselves and lacking 5 hotlinks. So try not to use I can't stand it, try not to awfulizing it. See it as it is and be flexible. Now, we told you already what it is, how to dispute now, and what's the positive effects in your emotions. And we actually already go into the second stage, is to manage my emotion. That is how you manage your emotion, is to dispute it, uphold God's principle rather than trying to resist it. Yeah, and claim the promises. It's not only Romans chapter 12 verse 2 that we claim that it transforms, but we can actually also claim, Ezekiel 36:27, that He will put the Spirit in me and give me the it's the Holy Spirit that lead me, to obey the commandments. And most of all, also, do the things with love. If we do the things with love, I know it's not a must, but because I love God, I do my devotion. Because of the love, I see the commandments so beautiful. Because of love, I'm willing to help other people because of love. Now, if we surrounded with that kind of love, I tell you, our emotion will calm down. We will have a quiet spirit. We will develop a good behavior and attitude. So try to ask yourself, to question yourself, what am I saying to myself about myself? Try to reflect it, and then also listen to what you're saying to yourself, challenge your self-talks, and change your self-talk. This is the 3 basic steps that we can do. And most of all, claim the promises. Do not do it alone. Let the Lord with you. Let the Lord empower you. Let the Lord transform you. And this is a reference and resources. It's from the Holy Bible as well as from the SOS Help for Emotions. And the activity at home today's Whoopie is the same as yesterday, plus 5 and 6. Identify your irrational belief and self-talk, dispute them, or replace them with God's principle. Identify your fixed mindset and replace with growth mindsets. Now, I will hope that you will really go home and do your homework and start your journal. And start writing what you reflect yourself, what is your irrational belief, and what would you like to place. And what is your, the distortion behavior that you have, what would you like to transform into, allow God to experience God's power in transforming your behavior. And I really hope that you will enjoy this change, that will help you to grow into a more matured emotionally, and also help you to grow more mature in spiritually as well. When we are emotionally matured as a Christian, we find that it will be so beautiful. Now, instead of pointing at people and saying that these people do such thing and affecting me, my emotion, and now I don't want to go to church, or now I don't want to do this, and now I don't want to do that, rather than these people, blame these people affecting your behavior, let's go to the self-talk. What is that actually affecting you, that you don't want to come to church? What is it you don't want to join the group? You don't want to do this or do that? Whatever the reason it is, the behavior it is, what it is, no one's going to judge you, right? No, we are not judging you, but rather do a reflection and see what you want to grow to become. So this is the end of my presentation today, and I hope it's more practical for you. Now it's a question time. What question do you have? Would you like to type inside? And maybe I should now close this slide, and then I will go into then I can see your questions, okay? I will go into I will go into the Zoom, that's right. Where is my Zoom? Here. Join. Oh, wait. I need my hotspot first. You can start typing while we are waiting for me. Okay, type your question. Okay, now I should be able to contact. A. No question? That is easy. What is mine? Any questions? Let me close this. I cannot join. I don't know why I cannot join in. I got my hotspot. What is the questions? Is there a simple, systematic way to practice daily how to grow to emotional maturity? Angel. Now, is there a systematic way? I think the most systematic way is you go to your A, B, C, D, E, yeah? And then it is more systematic in that way, and you see what is your event, you see what is your event, the A, and then what is your, first I think a lot of time our behavior is A, crooked thinking, to see what it is. So you find, sometimes it's hard to recall back, but if you daily, encountering that, be more aware and then write it down. Oh, why am I behaving this way? What is it? Is it A to C or A, B, C? If it's A to C, what is my B? You start to reflect that way, and then it's more systematic. When you found your B, how irrational it is, if it's irrational, then you see, go to the D. How can I rephrase that? Once you have that, the minute you rephrase it and you practice it, when the same thing happens, you do it A, B, C, D, E way, you will be amazed that how different the behavior you have changed with the same thing that happens. The previous time you may flare out and get upset, but this time when you rephrase it, you will see that you can communicate better, that you don't even have to feel angry about it, but you can check about it. Does it answer your questions? So what are the dangers of not being honest about your feeling? Now, if we are not honest about feeling, it's literally that you actually do not understand yourself. It's true. When I became honest to myself, that is a part that actually I don't want to reveal myself. Because a lot of time when we look into our inner self, suddenly we find that it's hard to accept myself is like that. Because we actually, you see yourself, you actually look like your parents, a part that you don't like is in you. And then I upset with mom because he has that problem, and now I have that. It's hard to accept it. So if I'm not honest, right, that means then I won't be able to learn of myself. You need to go through an acceptance of yourself. Oh, I don't like my mom, this behavior, and I have this behavior. What am I going to do this about? When I face it, it's actually part of maturity, growing to become more mature, more acceptant of yourself, and also more responsible to yourself as an adult, rather than you keep flicking back to the childish way of responding emotionally. Okay? So if it's not be honest, then you will not be able to change to become more mature and responsible person. I hope that answers your questions. And do you think practicing genuine humility will resolve mental problem? Practice genuine, if it's genuine, of course, will resolve. The word is genuine, right? Genuine is good. Because you see, humility is about humble yourself, right? And sometimes people think that you humble yourself, actually people take advantage of you. Or there is a lot of irrational belief come in when one want to humble yourself. Or people tease you, hey, come on, don't be so humble, and be yourself. Sometimes people do not see humble as a real self. That if you are genuine, your humbleness, that means you actually have transformed. Last time you are not so humble, now you are humble. You have make a transformation, and that is a true self of you. And yes, once you have a true humbleness, your behavior is very genuine. It becomes a part of you, and this is your new personality that God has given you. It's more like Christ-like behavior, and people will slowly, at first they may not used to it, but slowly they were drawn to you because they love humble people as well, especially when they're genuine. Yeah? And yeah, I have 5 more minutes. Is any more questions coming in? Is that helpful? if it's not, I would like to, emphasize one more thing, is being a Christian, we need to be kind to ourselves, right? No need to be too harsh to yourself. Sometimes, we have the expectation as a Christian, when we unmeet the expectation, we criticize ourselves, and saying that, I'm such a bad Christian, how come I'm not doing that? I'm supposed to do that, You don't have to be so harsh. It's okay. You turn people down at that one time, and then you ask yourself, right? What is that? Why do you turn it down? And is it because have other reason behind it? Spell it out loud to yourself, and then speak it out loud, and then say that, hey, it is acceptable. If it's the same thing happen in future, what would I respond? This is a good question to ask yourself. What would I respond if the same thing happened? Would I respond the same way? Or would I actually want to improve myself, actually move one step forward to do something different than today? So it's a lot of a free space for you to grow as a Christian. No need to criticize and condemn yourself when at that moment you're unable to perform the way that people expect you to perform. Okay? And okay, I think you have a rest, and then so you can have your next program start at 4:30. Thank you so much for your attentiveness and your listening. And I pray God that you will be, God will bless you. And our next lesson will be tomorrow, and Tina 3:45, and Tina will present that, and he will show you about how to deal with expectations, and how to deal with distortion behavior, and there were a lot of examples we have, and he will show it to you. And all the best to you, and God bless. Thank you.